and the ads change to like some like panties and
Yes. Let's go.
women apparel, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Wait, no, you don't understand.
No.
Welcome to another episode of Don Draper's Den. On this podcast, we discuss branding and marketing and how it touches so many parts of our lives. We also talk a bunch of trash about music, food, and culture, and history, and each other, and so much more. We hope that you're entertained. We hope that you gain insight from two marketing professionals such as ourselves. I'm Chris, and this is Ernie. In this episode, we get into AI and robots and the Matrix and all sorts of other ridiculous things. We go pretty deep because AI is here, ladies and gentlemen. So we hope you enjoy it. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I'm going to try to blow this thing up as good as we can. Without further ado, pour yourself a glass and let's get into this.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Bullets. So, about the election. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
Please, no.
Never again. Never.
At least for another 4 years.
At least, maybe 8. If
There's
another
probably something that's going to happen in the Trump administration that's going to force us to have to talk about it. So we can't make any promises.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here.
Yeah. Yes. So that aside, we have other topics in mind to discuss that are all about the robots, man. Robots are going to take over, bro. Were you a big fan, by the way, of like the Matrix? Was that?
Oh yeah.
We're of like, similar generation here. So
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing the Matrix and I was like, yeah.
I remember my mind just being blown because at first I went with some friends to watch it and I didn't quite understand what was going on.
Okay.
I'm a little slow like that when it comes to all that sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember we went out, got something to eat, and we were talking about it. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that's crazy. So then I went and watched it again another day, and I'm like, okay, now this is all making sense to me. And I loved it. Once I understood it, once I grasped like the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's heavy, man.
Yeah,
it's heavy. There's a lot of Easter eggs. There's a book that I've mentioned in the past from a French philosopher. His last name looks like Baudrillard, but he's French, so it's probably Baudrillard. Anyways, so it's the simulacra is how it looks, and the simulation theory. And so that book is in the Matrix. It's green, and when he opens a book to get out like a disc or whatever, he's going to hand it off to the chick with the white rabbit tattoo, like in the very beginning. He opens that book, like he's carved out a little, thing in the book. But yeah, it's that book. And so because of the movie, I got the book. And I could like barely understand. It was very heady, man. It was beyond me at that time. But I was like 18, 19, and I was all about it. Like, okay, robots. Yeah, sure. And like the cool part about it is that it's a great analogy. I mean, there's a lot going on, right? Neo is supposed to be the Christ figure, and Trinity is one of the characters. I mean, it's very cool like that, right? But the kind of analogy for that Matrix moment, just for me personally, whether it's been music or just playing the guitar mostly and jujitsu and the things that I love doing, where you have those like total light bulb, oh, I get it kind of moments.
Yeah.
Almost every single time to the moment, I picture that moment where he sees the Matrix after he's been shot. Spoiler alert, get over it. But after he's been shot, and he gets to see all the green, and like it's just the most perfect analogy. I reference that movie a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
man. And how about so loosely connected? I found out the Terminator.
It's similar ideas.
Same lady.
Same point that they're trying to make. Like the technology becomes so smart it outsmarts us.
Yeah.
And starts taking over.
And starts to take over. So can see us as a virus, right? Which there's a strong case for that.
Right.
We're just using up resources like a locust, just destroying our planet and all this kind of thing. So
Right. That's similar to the Avengers. Which one? It was the one where they had Ultra.
the red and gold guy
He was like a
or something,
silver,
or whatever he is.
No, he was like a silver
with the
AI.
jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that. So Tony Stark had a vision. He created Vision out.
Oh, that's right.
Right out
yeah,
of
I didn't
the
see that one. I know what you
stone,
mean.
but then he had this idea of like this of Ultra, basically, that would help defend the Earth, right? But then one of the things that he ended up becoming a villain because he saw that the problems with Earth happened to be mankind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so decided to say, okay, you guys are a virus. I need to destroy and start this over again, right?
Yeah.
So similar theme, right?
What if so? All right. So obviously those things are like certainly fantasy, thank God. But the nature of them, and I'm kind of ripping off a Guy Ritchie moment when he was on Rogan, and he's a storyteller, as he said.
Right.
So like it's the same story. It's like the prodigal son kind of vibe. And so in that, along that lines, it's like, okay, well, these are obviously just kind of like representative, right, analogies of things, right? So are we like humans? Like, are we the virus? Like literally kind of annoying to the earth, right? But the earth just sneezes and we're gone, right? But what we represent in that, like, in other words, our wastefulness, right? So in those movies, right, where we're seen as the virus, I picture it more like where the virus is that of the mind, and our selfishness or our wastefulness or our being unappreciative of what we have is the bad guy, right? But in the human psyche. And I always kind of saw those movies as like a manifestation, as if it's like one person, like the world is that person's mind. And so the good side of you is trying to fight the bad side of you. Right, to stop you from taking over and kind of ruining the resources. Right, that's how I always kind of took those. I never really thought, though, that I have to consider that becoming somewhat of a reality, right? A la the robotics and the AI and just automation, all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it seems like, I mean, even 20 years ago, right? When I'm in like whatever, over 20 years ago, when I was in high school, like it just seems so far off, right? I can't even imagine if I could go back in time to myself as like a 20-year-old and say, hey, man, this is what's going to be happening when you have kids, like in your lifetime. I'm kind of shocked, right? Like it's not just the AI image generators that are out there and all the cool things you can do, but like the way robots look and then those creepy military robotic dogs, you know? How far off is it, man? You know, like it's
I don't
kind
think
of
it's far
scary
off at all, honestly.
Are you scared of it?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm one of those
bro.
fully embraced AI technology. Honestly, like how awesome would it be, in my opinion, how awesome would it be just to be plugged into something? You don't have to do anything but live your life in your mind.
You're full cipher, right? You're
Full
cipher. Yeah.
Full cipher. I'm that guy who, like, when I saw that movie where the guy goes in Matrix where he says, I want to go back.
Yeah, that's cipher.
Plug
That's
me
the
back
character's
in,
name.
right?
Yeah.
Plug me back in because I just miss that steak. You know? When I heard that, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't want to live this life eating porridge and fighting this battle.
Right.
Just send me back into the Matrix. I'm just going to live my life like nothing ever happened and just enjoy the beautiful AI software that they created. No, I'm completely like that.
But in I think we got into this earlier in the office amidst our marketing goals here. But then you lack that kind of existential fight of, overcoming kind of
I think
achieving the impossible in achieving your dreams. Because all your dreams are just given to you now.
Yeah, but you don't know it because you're in it. So you don't know that the dreams are being given to you. like I'm that guy who I just don't necessarily want to know. I don't want to know.
The ignorance
We could
is the bliss.
we could be in it right now,
Yeah.
right?
And some would say, some
Right.
would say
Someone
that's
say
the
you
case.
are. You could be in it right now, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, I don't need to like. Is that true? Do I need to, figure out what's happening here with my life and understand if there's some computer trying to govern my life? No, but I'm also the guy who believes in like placebo effect. You tell me something's gonna work, take this pill, and it's gonna heal all your
Very
sufferings.
faith-based
I'm like, yeah, sure.
kind of dude.
Yeah, I just don't question things. Like I don't. There's some people like you. That's how you and I probably oppose.
Yeah.
You're gonna question everything. You're
Right.
gonna make. I want to make sure I know what I'm putting in my body.
Yeah, what is this? I asked
what
about
is-
this very drink.
Mhm.
Like, what is this? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got to know.
Yeah, no, not me.
I don't. No, I can't.
It's
can't
probably
live
my
like that.
personality, I think, because I'm just really accepting of anything and just I go along with the flow. I don't question things, and I don't know if that's partly my upbringing, partly my cultural background,
Yeah.
along with my personality. Where
Right.
it's like, just go with the flow. Why do you need to question everything? Just eat the damn pizza, Chris. It's just good, Chris. Why do you got to question it? I don't.
Because there might be ranch on it.
Right. I don't
I don't
question
trust you people.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I trust you and you say that, hey, by the way, take this pill, it's going to help your cough.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking cough. Give me the fucking pill. Right?
Yeah, sure. Right. And that would be, even if it didn't help and you thought it helped, it's harmless.
Right.
All right. That example is harmless. Yeah. So I think that, but that's harmless if you have like a pill and it's a little sugar pill and tell you it's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you sleep better at night, all these sorts of things. But then that pill is insidious because we're often pilled, described in recent past. I won't say about what, but getting blue pilled or red pilled or black pilled or white pilled. Right. Like, and then is it really harmless? Like, is it not allowing you for like personal growth or whatever? So I think the coughing example is true, right?
Right.
But as it pertains to like, I don't know, like what do I have to do as a man? I'm like, got to be a good dad, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm just on God mode,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't have to develop any character at all. It's just, I'm perfect.
I don't mind that.
Like there's no, I'm just God then.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like already perfect.
Well, I mean, you bring up a whole nother issue about God. I mean, that does play a big factor in why I'm partly being just sarcastic, right? Because you're right. If there's this God mode, I don't know if I want to replace God and me being the center of the universe. That's not what I'm going for. But I am appealed by this idea of having AI assistants, having AI like self-driving cars, having if there was like this is not AI necessarily, but technology driven. Like if there was like a teleportation device and we could just get rid of cars,
Sign me up.
sign me up. Like
Sign me up.
life is already so challenging,
Bro.
that if I could find tools or vehicles or something that's going to make my life a little bit easier, sign me up. Now,
So
but the
fired up
problem
for
with that, right, is however, you embrace one piece of technology and then another piece of technology, and of course it's
It's
iterative,
progressive.
it's generative, right?
Yeah.
It keeps getting better. They learn, they make it better, better. But next thing you know, you got a robot that's driving you, right, or taking care of your needs.
And then
or-
recommending. It's like, but and then it's bitching at you like a bad wife. You know what I mean? Then it's like, you shouldn't eat that, and we're not going to that restaurant tonight. And then the eyes turn red. I said we're not
It's like
going.
iRobot is the same thing. There's it was Will Smith. Have you watched that movie?
Yeah.
Where like the eyes are blue. There's that a butler,
all this.
and all of a sudden it turns all red, and you're like, what just happened?
Oh no. And then and it's oversimple. So but I wanted Indian tonight. I want to, just and then it's staring at you. We're not going there now. And she like blows up the Indian restaurant or something.
See, I think for me, it's more about like, if I'm going to embrace the benefits of technology and AI, knowing full well that this is leading towards disaster, then I might as well just like dive all in. Because the only alternative is to just pull all out. And you could, but
now you're living in the woods.
But these people who are saying like, oh no, AI is good, let's just embrace it and just live it and utilize these tools, and don't think that it's ever gonna impact us in negative ways, I
Right.
think they're living in a dream world. They're lying to themselves.
Right.
Me, I just say, yeah, I know there's gonna be some negative implications. Oh well, just dive all in.
That's crazy. So, all right. So what I picture, so there's a million scenarios, right? On the one hand, all sci-fi based. I mean, this is the most
Right,
bro show moment we're gonna have. So we go the Matrix route. We are the batteries, right? We're just here to fulfill their purpose because now they're smarter than us, and so we're just like meat at this point, right? We become the cattle.
Right.
All right, fine. And then we are the virus to be eradicated, not even used, but to be eradicated, a la Terminator, right? And so that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. And then what about, I'm thinking of Jean-Luc Picard, Star Trek. So I'm thinking of Star Trek, right? The Borg Collective, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So that's the cyborgs. So, but they're all about it, which is kind of the route we're going, right? Like, I don't mind me some AI. Like, I don't mind some AI. Like, I'll do some. I got the GPS going. I don't remember anybody's phone number anymore. There's a lot of things that are just kind of automated or whatever, just stored, not in my brain, and that's fine, right? So, we're gonna go there first. Elon's already trying to put chips in people's heads and all this kind of stuff. It's going to have immediate cool implications because it's like you can control things as if you have an arm, but you don't have an arm. Hopefully you can restore sight. I think they're already doing that. Like a lot of good stuff.
The biomechanics, like the limbs.
Yeah,
and
fake
the
limbs.
arms and
yeah.
Now they're able to move it with just thinking about it. I mean,
That's amazing.
yeah, it's amazing.
That's fantastic. I'm on board for it. But what about when the bodies get so good that I'm like, I don't really put my brain in that body.
Right?
Right? Make me out of titanium. Like, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Right? What then? I don't personally think I like it, man. I don't want to see that world because then, like, where's the human achievement? I don't know. It just feels weird.
But listen,
I resist it.
You know, because of technology and advancements and innovations, right? We have increased lifespan quite a bit since the 1800s or even further, you know, way back when, right? The lifespan is increased. Now we can actually have centenarians and people living to the 80s, right? More often. Why? Because of technologies and understanding and learning about our bodies, right? Well, I think part of that, though, is people have a desire to live longer, you know, and so they're looking for ways to better their life, increase the quality of their life, thereby increasing longevity of their life. People want to live longer. And you can't tell me that there aren't people out there that don't want to live even longer.
Yeah.
We're saying, okay, when I die, because I'm a billionaire, I got money, instead of just,
there you go.
Especially if they're agnostic or they're atheists or they don't believe in a higher God,
right?
Why wouldn't they say, just if their technology is available, to just place my brain into this AI thing and I'm just living, you know, like nothing ever changed,
right?
In a fantasy land,
right?
Or put me into this mechanical body,
right?
You know, so that I could live longer. Right. If it's possible and it's shown to be possible, then why would there's going to be people who are interested in it. And when people are interested in it, you know that people are going to develop it. When people develop it and use it and beta test it, it's just going to keep on improving. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion.
Can you imagine?
Now, we might be living in this like fun era that we're never going to see that time.
I don't think so. Right. No, that seems so far off.
I think that's partly the reason why I'm being facetious, saying that, yeah, I'll go on. Like,
sign me up.
Sign me up. Right. Because I know that that's probably not going to happen in my time, in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And so it's just fun to say. Sign me up. Plug me in.
Yeah.
Put a USB port.
Dude.
Because I know it's going to be a while.
Just wait. Imagine there's a way to like reanimate, right? Mm-hmm. So you're dead 20 years or something like this. And then I come through and I just plug you in.
Right?
Just wake you up. You're all half decayed and everything.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it worked.
Right. People are looking for that because there are people who are willing to take those risks for in the name of science.
Yeah.
People will go up into space. Why? I mean, that's so dangerous. In the name of
So
science,
dangerous.
advancement of humankind. People are going to look at doing that. And so what I see right now in terms of AI is just leading in that direction. We already have the voice technology.
Yeah.
We got AI for the brain piece.
Yeah.
Look at what they're doing in military and other efforts in terms of robotics.
Yeah.
And now we have Elon Musk and others putting it into an actual humanoid form. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
So,
wait, the impact. I would say the impact in the person, right? Here's something again, fantasy realm that I think of, right? Is the dilemma of the vampire. Hear me out.
mm-hmm.
It all feels well and fine when you've got the strength and the youth and just it goes on forever and all that kind of thing, right? Minor sacrifices, no more sunlight, fine, and got to drink blood. All right, so that's the vampire vibe. But the other part of it that I always thought about was like, man, what about when you see, generations go by? Like, I mean, as an old person, if you should see your late 90s, bro, everybody you loved is dead. Even your children are probably dead, right? The friends you had, the life you had, the world you knew, that as humans, we hit our teen years as men. We hit our teens and we graft onto particular things about music and culture, and that's kind of who we are. And then as we develop, there's like these milestones in our lives that we kind of graft our personality onto.
Right.
It seems like a built-in shelf life.
Right.
But then if you're talking about 200,
Right.
300, 500 years, right? That's like, I mean, think of like how many kings, queens, and artists and so on have come and gone in the past 500 years.
Right.
I didn't know this. Did you know that English wouldn't even be English if you go back just a few hundred years? Like, it doesn't take that long to realize that like English is just a bunch of languages, mostly Germanic and Latin stuff, but it's all melted together. You couldn't even speak to people if you went back that far. But it's like a blink of time. So then I imagine like, man, what kind of price would the soul pay, right? To be mechanically embodied, but to just keep carrying on.
Right.
So to keep carrying on like that, you'd have the experience. I mean, you'd be one of the wisest things on earth. But man, the loneliness must be. Ooh, yeah. I would feel like it would be a curse, and that's why I think of the vampire thing, where it's like, oh, dude, you're cursed to, roam the earth like this.
Right.
Like, oof.
Well, and I guess that's what is beautiful about the life that we have now, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that there is an end time of our human form.
Yeah, this ride doesn't last forever.
It doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
Then it gives us, it encourages us or challenges us to make the most of that time.
Yes.
And some people don't do that very well. They ruin their lives. They hurt themselves, right? They don't care. And then others, because there's that, we only have a moment of time. Like, and I told you about this myself. Like, I always want to try everything because life's too short. Right. I'm going to make as many memories as I possibly can because, this life here is going to be over, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine that if there was that time when technology gets so advanced where you could be able to live for a very, very long time, then I would imagine that you probably go through cycles of like, hey, I got this life, I'm going to use it and better mankind and myself. But then all of a sudden, because of loss of loved ones in that season of life, maybe you start going very carnal.
Yeah.
Or very depressed, and then you get to this point where you cycle again. So you live this cyclical life of eternity, and it's just never ending.
And and like a tree, right? Like with this much longer life cycle, right? You grow into that, and like years don't mean the same anymore.
Right.
Perhaps what you're saying is, we're accustomed to this timeline and our arc of life is like
Right.
this. Sure, you extend it. The arc has dips and flows in the
Right.
greater arc. So
Now, if
perhaps
it's
so,
now
maybe.
if it's eternity, like
Yeah.
forever, you're living for a long time,
Right.
hundreds and hundreds of years. Then I imagine like it goes something like this. It's just like
Yeah.
right. It's just
Yeah.
because you're going through so many emotions and you're having to live through so many other people's lifetimes only to see them die. But that's assuming that you're the only guy who's going through this. Where what I'm saying
the
is
cursed vampire part. Yeah. Okay,
right, the
yeah,
cursed
yeah,
vampire
right,
part.
right.
Whereas if everybody's benefiting from technology,
Right.
well, then that's a little different because now my loved ones can live just as long as me.
But then what happens is that there's inevitably, you can immediately see that separation, right? Because everybody with money is going to be immortal first. And the rest of us, right, are
Yeah,
going to just be
we'll
their
get
slaves.
We'll get the low version of immortality.
Yeah, we got like 10 extra years, right? Some raggedy, like, they dig up the rich guy and it's got, this apparatus has got another 20 years on
Right.
it. You say buy it on the black market and it's a little rickety, you know what I mean? You twitch or something. So, yeah, I think ultimately that the scenario you're proposing kind of is another way to separate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I feel like it will lead to a massive, massive, massive gap,
Mm-hmm.
a feudalistic, like they're the kings, they're the elites.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the rest of us. Right. And there is no longer, not even a middle class. I mean, it's nothing like the world ever seen.
Well, that's
right?
also
because they'll
assuming,
be superhuman.
that's also assuming too that we're all living in the same program
Yeah.
together. Who knows what happens? Maybe we're all creating our own little fantasy worlds
Yeah.
separate. We're interacting with AI people within our dreams.
Right. Like, are you
A
even
dream
real?
state. Yeah, are you even for real? Right.
Yeah.
So then we make it however you are the king in that fantasy.
Right.
But who knows where where it's going in the future? I just know personally that man, AI is helping me in marketing and helps a lot of marketing agencies, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard because you're right. It's easy. The moment you start thinking AI, you start thinking like, okay, how's it going to impact life as a whole? What's Elon Musk's Optimus going to do and impact us good, bad, and ugly?
Right.
But right now, I'll tell you what, in terms of marketing,
Yeah.
getting content out there,
Right.
writing content,
Right.
man, AI and ChatGPT and
Huge
all
help.
that has been huge.
Huge help. Yeah.
Time
Tremendous.
saver.
Tremendous. Like I think the analogy once I got used to using it
Mm-hmm.
was okay. Telling a computer or telling a thing to, if you're going to make a sculpture, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like, hey, computer, I want to make whatever Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
Statue Michael, and cut away enough stone so that I get the outline of a man. Then, cool, it does that. Just save me like 80% of the work,
Mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't take
Right.
away from my ability. Okay, cool, thanks. And then I get in there and start working my magic, right?
Right.
But in that analogy, it's like, well, if it was like a Michelangelo or somebody, those guys, they're the masters, but they had the one below them that
Right.
they're a mentor to,
Mhm.
and then another one below that, and perhaps another page,
Mm-hmm.
that's like just cleaning the paintbrushes. So like, instead of all that, it's like, no, I'll be the master, which I
Right.
think is a bit too much. I'm no master, but I'll be the master. And then the AI gets rid of like, well, I don't need the page. Shit, I don't even really need anybody else. I'm good.
Right.
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 So I think that it has its benefits. I know it for a fact in marketing and engineers that I've talked to. I'd imagine all kinds of
Software
people
developers,
Yeah.
programmers,
Chemists, I would imagine.
It eliminates a lot of that unnecessary time.
Right.
And there's companies that are saving so much money right now because they can eliminate positions
Yeah.
or not even eliminating, but they're having a hard time even filling those positions because people don't want them or what have you, that it's easier just to fill it with AI robots or what have you.
Yeah.
And I see that in my scenario too, where I only have so much time in the day, and because of emails and all these chatting and all that chat things,
Yeah.
software,
Yeah.
that like clients want things faster and
Right.
better.
Right.
Well, if I am having to prep the paintbrush, prep the paint, get the canvas all ready,
Yeah, there's
that
only
is
so much
already
time to
half
do.
the day.
Right.
Well, now with ChatGPT, for example, in this case, all that's done. I can just focus on, okay, now that I got this done, I'm going to chip away at it and make it even better,
Right.
right? And ChatGPT doesn't know what to write about until you start putting in information,
Right.
which means that you need to know enough to know what to ask it,
Right.
right? So there's still definitely work involved. And that's why I think that AI is here to stay, and it's helping us in so many ways, and not just in ChatGPT. You see customer service being improved by AI.
Yeah.
Like when you're chatting on online,
Yeah. That's not
often
personal.
you're not even talking to a real person.
Right.
It's this AI. You're having calls being made from robotically AI.
Right.
You have warehouses being and management of inventory being done by robots and AI.
Right.
Right.
And along those lines,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a note. I'll bust out the note. In fact, so hold on. All right. In terms of impact,
Mm-hmm.
that's the part where, like, on an economic sense,
Mm-hmm.
where Andrew Yang was a guy that was screaming this from the rooftops, amongst others, right?
Yeah.
So the impact, if I can find it, is job displacement. Here's one that I wanted to make sure we hit. So 2020, there's a study by Oxford Economics. It's estimated that 20 million manufacturing jobs globally will be lost to robotics by 2030.
Mm.
In a 10-year difference, 20 million jobs.
Yeah.
That is huge.
It's ginormous.
That is huge. I mean, even if it's a projection, even if it's a touch less, God forbid, a touch more, like, that's a massive impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you, like the analogy before, right? It was like you got the master painter, the direct understudy, I forget what the apprentice, and then somebody in, some paint washers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the master is still the master,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you eliminate all the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need them anymore. But then two problems. One, well, what about when the master dies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now nobody learned from him. So now nobody learned from the master. Where does all that knowledge go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where's that genuine, like, human ingenuity? And then if it's a master of a art that can be mastered by a robot and thereby replace the person,
Mm-hmm.
what is the human supposed to do?
Well, except that what's a human supposed to do in
What's
terms
the
of
human
what?
get
Like
it? So
when he's
the
gone?
robot. No. It's like in the moment.
Mm.
Maybe there's a robot that can come in and, more simple tasks, right? Just like moving boxes around a warehouse,
Right.
right? Honest work. But hell, if a robot can lift 50 boxes at once,
Mm-hmm.
well, you can go home, John. We're good, right? But now what's John supposed to do? He
Well-
probably only got the job because it was close. He didn't have to have too much qualification, and it paid all right.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that with this new onset of technology,
Right.
it's going to open up other needs,
Mhm.
right? You're going to open up AI developers or what have you. It's going to maybe the onset of robotics and this massive growth in robotics is going to open up other types of jobs for humans. So I don't think that having AI, having robotic technology, yes, it's going to eliminate jobs. I don't think that all of a sudden there's just no other jobs. I think there's just going to be other new jobs,
Different kinds of jobs.
right? And
Yeah.
so, which causes us to have to pivot and have to get certified, have to learn and continually learn so we can get better to get other jobs,
Yeah.
new jobs that
Right.
are newly created, right? And so now that's beyond me. I don't know what are those jobs called,
No.
but I know it's already happening.
Yeah.
There are already new roles that are and developers that are needed.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think college is important because they need to be on their game in terms of finding what's the next program that they need to initiate in order to teach and prepare the younger generation to
Right.
jump in those roles, right? That's where higher education and or trade schools or what have you, they need to be on top of it
I think
to
so.
evolve.
What we saw in, a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
was, and it got political. Can't quite remember who said it, but it was to the effect of like, hey, these robots are going to replace our jobs, and it was like learn how to code. Somebody said that. I can't remember who. But that's kind of a white collar perspective, right? Because if you've already gotten a college degree, then it's like on the menu of things to do to get yet another certification or a degree, right? But my mom, God bless her, I loved her, but she wasn't exactly the going to school type, right? So not everybody's made for it, and that's just fine,
Yeah.
right? But therein lies the trade school world and all that, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you can get yourself certified to do a billion things in 18 months, and you just get on your way. So my point is that I bet for a little while, economically it makes sense, and also with AI taking away the jobs, I think that we're going to see that human know-how resurface. I'm hopeful for that, right? To where we see an explosion in America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but in America of like the trades, right? It's called for, and it was already called for because I think everybody got, go to college and be somebody bullshit fed to them. I know I did. But man, I wish I had a skill, because like there's honest work out there.
Right.
It's really super needed. And I don't really think we're even close to having robot Johnny come in and fix the plumbing. Like we're not, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You need a human being to do that. Right. And how the AI can help the plumber seems unlikely. Right. But they can leverage that too. It doesn't just have to be for marketers. Right. I know in marketing, we sometimes recommend like, hey man, it'll help you with your marketing. Right.
But AI is already helping the plumber, though, if you think about it. Think about it this way. Like now, let's say there's a plumber. And I'm saying that like whatever, insert whatever trade.
Sure.
Let's say there's a guy or gal who has a question. I got to try to fix this issue.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know exactly how to do it. Let me do a little Google search. Right. What pops up? AI.
Bingo.
Here's some things.
Yeah, a little meta AI.
Right. Now, I don't know how accurate that stuff. I'm sure that's going to be ever evolving.
Right.
But it already pops up. Here are some things you can do about that challenge that you have, right?
Right.
Or it intuitively pulls up videos, YouTube videos, of how to fix that plumbing issue or electrical issue, right? So, yeah, we may not be having that robot next to us turning a wrench, but it's already helping us. It helps me every day. Whenever I have a question about anything, something will pop up on my phone,
Yeah.
And so it's just a new way of life. Now, is it going to have negative impact on people? I think it's kind of like cigarettes, right? Like when it first came out, everybody smoked it. And then over time, you start seeing the negative impact.
Yeah.
And so I think over time, we'll start seeing the good, the bad, the ugly for AI and how it has impacted our kids.
Yeah, man.
Because like I know like I see kids all the time. They're always on their phones.
Right.
They're plugged in some way. Now there's therapy provided for kids who are addicted to technology.
Yeah,
and the more AI involved the technology is, the more it's going to customize and relate its efforts to that user in this scenario, the kid, that they could be really bonded to and connected in a way that is very negative.
Yeah.
And so it's already going to happen. I think it's still early to see how that's going to negatively impact them, 10, 20 years from now when they're grown adults. Maybe it's going to impact the way that they relate to people. Maybe it's going to impact the way they process information.
I mean, it already is, man. I've run into folks in places I frequent. I don't want to call anybody out, but like the level of I don't know. You just don't like young boys not knowing how to shake a man's hand. You know what I mean? Right. Just like you shake firm, web to web of the thumb, look them in the eye. My name is this.
Right.
That's it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Right. But that there's like a shrinking and ever shrinking level of like, I don't know, man. I call it masculinity, but it's more than that. It's like a social connectivity and like maybe the rules and principles and guidelines that kind of help us behave like adults for whatever that means,
Right.
you know? And that seems to have been already eroded, right? And like how young folks, in my perception as a younger person, I remember being shy myself. I remember finding it difficult to engage with other people, right? However, that seems more frequent and more severe now. And I think my hope is on one side, well, in a weird way, maybe AI would help that, you know, because maybe your AI, if you're this younger person these days, and even into kids these days, maybe they're going to help you converse, you know, like, you know, so it's like, oh, that's what a regular person talks like, you know, and it's not yet other weird, introverted, insecure, you know, only people, you know, so maybe there is a good way of it there, but
I'm sure
there's
gonna be a pendulum effect to a certain degree where we swing one direction, see some of the negative impacts, we swing the other direction, and the goal is to try to find that middle ground. At the end of the day, though, even when I'm talking about kids and the impact that AI is going to have on the kids, AI doesn't replace good parenting.
Fact.
Right?
Yeah.
AI doesn't replace good parenting, and good parents will know that there's a balance. Good parents will train their children on how to utilize their technology in an appropriate way, right? And how to process this information, and it's ultimately the parents who will teach the, you know, good manners, right, and how to treat people,
right.
So I think that AI challenges parents because it's so easy now to leave the kids in front of technology or their cell phones or on social media, TikTok or whatever. It's so easy, but good parents will meet that challenge and say, you know what? Why don't you turn that stuff off? Let's go for a walk. Let's go do something.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a challenge for parents to say, okay, yes, it's easy to just throw them in front of the TV or in front of their phones, but I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to do something with my child. I'm going to make memories with them. I'm going to train them, you know, in the way that they need to be trained.
Yeah.
So, I don't think AI can ever replace good parenting. And so good parents, they're out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I support that. I think so. But while it seems scary and new, I think that the technology, I hope that when we look back, it's going to be like every other thing by way of technology, meaning the printing press, the TV, the radio, all these things. When you read things of the time, it's like it's the devil's work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sent by Satan himself, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Cars, movies, everything is like, there's always this resistance.
You know what's going to be interesting is once AI becomes more mainstream and like Optimus becomes more mainstream or robots like that, I'm curious if there's going to be advertising like, hey, buy your new robot.
Yeah.
Stop by at the robot dealership.
Yeah.
Act now, and you can get a free dog. Bro. You know, like I wonder what that's going to look like.
Free robot dog.
and yet I say that, and yet I know that like Tesla, you never see an advertisement for Tesla.
No.
And yet they're one of the largest, fastest growing automakers in America right now. But you never see an advertisement.
No.
And so I'm wondering if it's going to be a little bit of that too, where you'll never really see an advertisement for your robot because it's going to be done through PR. It's going to be done through these large scale events where Elon is doing these, rolling out the new model, but you never really see an ad for Tesla. And Tesla, talk about AI. I mean, there's a lot of AI features in that car, computer features in that car.
Right.
You know? And so I'm wondering how this is going to change, or what type of marketing tactics AI companies, that develop AI products and such, what are they going to do to appeal to
Ooh, yeah.
mankind to buy their stuff?
God, and they can get so specific. We're like there's
I
direct,
hope that they have these fun commercials like buy this robot today.
bro. And
'Cause
how
I would
hot?
just
How
laugh.
hot are the robots gonna be?
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're gonna be super hot. You know, they're gonna be like cartoon character. It'll look like what is it? Like the people who do cosplay,
Yeah.
like Comic-Con.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it'll just be like the people walking around from like movie Avatar. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And all that sort of thing. Like those are the robots. You know, they're gonna have like the BBL thing going on. Just like, yeah.
But I mean, there's so much use. When I think about our industry and marketing, there's so much good use for AI.
Yeah.
Because now with AI, your messaging could be more relevant to the user. You could be able to direct your ads, your marketing directly to a specific demographic.
True.
Right? Because of that big data we were talking about the other time. You could be able to, like, I can imagine going through a retail store and ads are changing on the wall depending on
Who's looking. Yeah,
who's
yeah.
looking.
Right.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
You know, so that you're really tailoring it. And we already see that kind of stuff in other ways.
Bro, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I picture though? If you're walking through, you know, and say some dudes out there have some fetishes, bro. You know what I mean? They're into the feet, they're into the chains, whatever they're into, right? Right on. But like, imagine you're walking through like Macy's or something of the future. It's like not even a wall of clothes.
Yeah.
But it's like a big window, and like it shows you what you want. Hey, John. I don't know why I'm picking on John today. Hey, John. We were thinking of you, buddy. What do you think? And it's just nothing but like leather bondage gear, and he's walking with his friends.
That's hilarious. Or like,
Bro,
or like you're walking by, you're with some friends, and then like all of a sudden you're walking ahead of them, and the ads change to like some like panties and
Yes.
women
Let's go.
women apparel, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Wait, no, you don't understand.
No, that's not me. That's
It's not me. And then it calls you out, John, just like you got last week. This is your favorite color.
And then your
It
friends all
matches
look
your
like,
shoes.
what the heck? No.
You don't understand.
understand?
It's a different John.
Yes. My friend was playing around with my phone. It must have picked it up.
You don't
It
know.
wasn't me.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I didn't make that purchase. That was my wife.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
John,
me.
we know you made that purchase. Like what?
It's your shoe size. It says it right there. That's you. It'll show a shot. Show a shot of you picking the Amazon box up.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like a satisfied customer, you give a thumbs up.
This is you, isn't it? And you're like,
Damn. It
Dude.
goes to your OnlyFans. Anyways.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, man. So poor John.
That reminds me of a funny Key and Peele skit where I don't remember which one's which. Oh, Key.
Yeah.
Keegan.
Right.
He is acting like a politician, and he's sitting in like a town square type of forum.
Yeah.
And he's talking, and he's like, I'm going to be essentially helping and supporting and be there for all these different individuals, whether you're like, a woman,
Right.
whether you're black, whether you're gay.
Yeah.
And like every time he says each type of person, the camera pans the crowd.
Yeah.
And then whenever he says gay, it zooms in on Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
And he's like,
Nah, wait. No, you don't get it.
you're right. And then he goes back and fighting for gay rights. He goes back on Jordan Peele, and Jordan's like trying to like he put his arm around some random ladies just to show. And the lady's like, "Get away from me, dude." That's what it reminded me of that skit.
That's
like the stuff.
fantastic. Dude, they're so good.
Yeah.
Like how, and then to go from that to horror movies, like God, they're so good.
You know what's funny is that I don't think I've ever watched a Keegan and Peele full show.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Except that I know them, and I know so many skits, and I refer to them all the time because of the reels that they put on.
Shorts and everything.
Their
on
shorts and
YouTube.
stuff.
Yeah.
But man, those guys are
Oh
hilarious.
man, when they're talking about their wives,
Mm-hmm.
and they just get like they end up like in the basement, and then I was like, bitch.
Yeah.
And they just get further and further and quieter away. God, yeah,
Very
they're
funny.
they're brilliant, man.
Very funny.
Anyways, but all right, AI is not going to replace Key and Peele,
No, it better
right?
not.
It can't,
No, it
right?
better
You
not.
can't replace that,
I love those guys.
right?
They're
Those
hilarious.
perspectives are
Yeah.
uniquely human, concocted of a swirling pool of life experiences that are unique to them. You can't replicate that. You
And
can't replace that.
I think that's the point, though, is that I think that's a good point, is that like AI can never replace Key and Peele. Like AI can't replace the unique, genuine creativity that you could bring that you can offer to the table.
Yeah.
It challenges us to be better. It challenges us to be more creative, more thoughtful, right? Because if you have AI that could take care of the mundane,
it frees you up
you up.
Keep thinking the big thoughts.
Yep.
Right. Like,
and so I think, where it gets scary is when that ever changes. And now AI is so creative and built in a way that it's evolving and it's learning faster than we can learn and create faster than we can create and think of innovative ideas that we never could have thought out without AI. That's when maybe it gets scary. But right where it's at right now, where it's allowing us, it's taking over some of the mundane tasks of even typing out a letter, allowing us to do other more important revenue generating creative work. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Even when you look at it in marketing or in the design world in marketing, it used to be difficult to find images, stock images or royalty images that you would purchase and use for your design work.
Right.
And certainly, good agencies like ourselves, we have a photographer on staff that's going out and setting up and taking actual photography. But even that, sometimes you just don't have the time for it. Well, now AI, you could just put in your requests. I'm looking for a picture of a baby swaddled next to candlelight.
Right.
First of all, what person ever puts their baby swaddled next to candlelight?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Right.
So you'll never find a stock
Set
photo
the
of
goddamn
that.
baby on fire.
Exactly. But let's say let's just say you wanted that for a cute, nice, soft photo for a card you're sending out, right? You could seriously type that into your AI, search bar, and it'll creates all these different images.
Yeah.
Right. Now, some of them don't look all that good
because they always have like
the
a
candles
hand
coming
out
out,
of the baby's
right?
mouth
Exactly.
or some shit. It doesn't make any sense.
But you know how much time you just saved the designer,
right?
Or money you saved because you didn't have to get your photographer to spend all day trying to figure out how you're going to get that image.
Right.
You save so much time. I love it. And I think that's why I jokingly say, I'm going all in, because I just see how it's changed and made us more efficient in so many different ways. Again, though, like anything, any tool, there's good uses to a tool and there's bad uses to a tool, right? A hammer is awesome. Can you imagine not having a hammer and you had to hit a nail? Great.
You're not going to build a house.
You're not going
bro.
to build a house. It's going to be very difficult
Yeah.
to go back to stones or what have you, right?
And occasionally, you smash someone in the head.
But then you could use it negatively,
and
and
that's
hurt
how it
somebody
goes.
with it.
Yeah.
It's
get a broken foot.
It's the AI is just that tool where it's going to make us so efficient, but if you don't use it right and wield it the wrong way, it's going to hurt people.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Hurt your business or hurt your creativity, stifle creativity or what have you.
Yeah.
So I'm all in at this point. And I think that's what I mean when I say hook me up to the Matrix. He says I'm all in for this progression. It's exciting to see how this is going to impact marketing and branding, and how we're going to be able to utilize this to be even better at what we do. I'm fascinated.
Yeah. I think like so many, it's like technologies in the past, in my own personal work experience, and early adopters always end up better off.
Yep.
Right. Like either get in with it, or you'd better be really goddamn good at what you do. Right. Because if you're going to keep it old school and keep it kind of analog, right, to use like a musical reference, man, you better be great.
Yep.
Right. Because you're right. It's like you can hold on to, nope, this is how I do it. Okay. All right. And that's like homie in the subway making sushi. What's his name? Yujo, whatever the hell his name. Dreams of Sushi.
Yeah, Dreams with Heroes. Dreams of Sushi with Chef Hero or something like that.
Something like that. So like, but that dude's been doing it and he's refining it, and it's like a human pursuit.
Yeah.
Right. And when he's gone, it's gone. And so you gotta be there for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us are not built like that. Like you gotta adapt.
But
you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah, you gotta adapt or be left behind. But those who do stay, like that artisan, who makes amazing sushi, every day, day in, day out, like they're going to be highly valued, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Because it's like, I want to go there. I mean, next time I go to Japan, I want to see if I could go to that restaurant. But you got to like schedule like weeks, months in advance, something like that.
Right.
But people do.
Right.
They never hurt for having reservations booked.
Right.
Because he is very unique, and he's a Michelin star chef. He's very good at what he does. So I think introducing this any new technology will make those craftsmen even more valuable, those artisans even more valuable. Will challenge innovators to be more innovative, and will create a new business, new job opportunities for those who are willing to progress in that way, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure, like anything, it's going to leave some people behind.
Yeah.
But people are being left behind now too, right?
Yeah,
that's part of the human condition.
That's
some people are ready to like. I don't mind if I have to switch industries. I'm ready. I'm willing to learn. Some people are just, I'm hanging up the gloves.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. As like Popeye, right? I is what I is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, but in the moment, I'm really enjoying how AI is impacting marketing and branding.
Me too.
And what we do.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's exciting. It's fast moving. You the moment you think you get it, something is new.
Yeah.
And it's a good time I think that we live in for marketers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine back then though? I often think of this. Like 50s, 60s, when you had the guys, the artists, Madman style, they're sitting there drawing the ads out. And then we're talking about, AI that's doing it for you or doing some of it for you. Yeah. Or forget AI, just the fact that we have Adobe software to be able to
cut and paste and move things.
Where back then they literally had to cut and paste.
Actual illustrator
make their
really
whole
drew it out.
Yeah, make their whole marketing pitch fully drawn out only for the prospect or the client to say they don't like it. Start from scratch. Oh man.
Bro.
Right?
And so what kind of, speaking of that, right? Like we do things and then subsequently get, shot down, part of business.
Mm-hmm.
You realize, I don't know if I have it in me to put in those kinds of hours, right? Making, crafting, whatever it is I'm crafting, right? And then put a nice presentation together painstakingly like that.
Yeah.
And they'll only have it shot down and like probably like in a dickish way. Cause guys were they're back when men were men drinking whiskey, all that shit. And like, Ron, this is terrible. Get rid of it. And he just throws it on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to fight you in a parking lot, man.
Right.
I am very upset right now.
Right.
This is not going to do.
And yet you had no choice.
That's just what you just had to eat shit.
Yeah.
Right. And what do? You go home, you pour yourself like a gin and tonic like a man, and you kick the dog, and you just carry on.
Yeah. You just carry on.
There's just nothing you can do about it.
Right. That's what you get paid to do.
That's rough.
Yep.
That's rough. But those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
No.
But we're exciting new days.
Right.
I can imagine though those days had to been fun though too. I mean, to be able to create something from a blank canvas, and all of a sudden you just see this artist just put together this magazine ad, and it's like, that's it.
Even having that in house, you know what I mean? Like, I remember the last time we have some damn good illustrating type fools here, but like I remember there was an art student when I was in at a community college, and this kid was like a goth kid, and but dyed black dreadlocks, corpse paint like he's going to see Cradle of Filth, and whatever, the whole get up like every day, right? and looked like a porcelain doll, right? So obviously the art skills were in the makeup, right? And I remember walking past the table, and he was drawing like a portrait of some gothic-looking figure, you know, like Edward Scissorhands-esque or something. And I passed it, and it looked like a goddamn picture. I was shocked. I was astonished. Never in my whole entire life up until that point, at like 19-ish, had I ever seen such a thing, right? And this dude was just by hand, pencil, just pencil and an eraser. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Right? So my point in saying that is, back in the day, that would have been more on the standard of like, there's more of those folks around.
Yep.
Right? There's artists back in the day in any office building you walked into. Right? There were probably illustrators and all kinds of folks that had skills like that. Whereas today, you know, some of that has gone by the wayside because computers, I think, take the chains off to a degree. You don't have to be confined only to a pen, pencil, or marker or whatever. But man, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. You know, to me, it's kind of like seeing a classical guitar player, and you're like, wow, man. Yeah. Like I'm only gonna see that right there. And you know, maybe that's my reverence for, because I'm still thinking about the sushi guy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, man, that human element for right now, I defy you to replace that. You know, it's going to be a long time coming until AI gets close.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as close as we think. I don't think we should all be afraid like they're going to take over tomorrow.
At least not, I think not, at least our generation.
No.
Gen Xers. I don't think we need to worry about that yet.
Right.
Now, do we need to concern ourselves because it'll impact the millennials and the Gen Zers and their kids?
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because they might see it.
Right.
In their lifetime.
Right.
But I also do think that there obviously will be advocates against and putting rules and parameters and restrictions on artificial intelligence as well. That those type of groups or lobbyists or what have you will be out there to push against that.
Yeah.
And that's only natural. You're going to have that, and I think it's good, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
We're going to start talking about the etiquettes or the ethics of AI,
right,
in the workplace, you know, et cetera. So that's bound to happen too, and I think, you know, that follows suit with what we see in life. You know, you introduce new guns or technology, like, you know, laws come up, right?
Right.
So, you know, it might be a while, but is it impacting us today in good, bad, and ugly ways? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's a net good though. I'm
so
positive.
For me in marketing,
I
think it's a net good for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, how it's helped us in our business development and helped us in shaping some of our, you know, our processes. It's helped streamline things faster for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can speak my, you know, casual language into a chat GPT, and it's like, I want it to be this, that, and the other, and look like this. No, fix it here and do that and this way. I don't have to be the human thesaurus and, you know, have everything bullet pointed out. I can keep it sloppy, but the ideas are good, right? And then I can hone it afterwards. So
of all
I agree with that.
The high tech AI type movies, fantasy movies, which was your favorite ones?
Golly, man. I think it's got to be The Matrix, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we started this whole thing on that, and by far, nothing has had an impact like that. I mean, it's like the reference culturally is so deep, right? It's a Matrix moment, and even so many of the lines, like, I know Kung Fu, and like all of that stuff, man. Like, it's just so pervasive in the culture. And the idea, like, they nailed it, man. You know, and it was one of the first times in a movie where I left and I genuinely was like, is that real? Yeah. You know, are we?
Well, because they had some fascinating explanations about a lot of things in our life, including deja vu.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah, it's a glitch in the Matrix.
Because that does happen where we have deja vu, and it's such an odd phenomenon in our brain that when I saw them, like, Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Like why the explanation of that.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it feels as like visceral to where like it rattled
That
me.
and that and the idea of putting challenges in front of somebody in the Matrix, because those challenges make them try to strive to be better, which makes them in the real world, right, be better in terms of batteries or what have you for the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you got to
I see
give
what
them
you mean.
challenges in order for
Right.
them to keep working at it, which makes them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll just die. They'll shrivel up. Right?
Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
I thought that's an interesting concept. Like that's why we had these challenges, right? To
Yeah.
continue to refine us and challenge us. Because
Make
without
us a
challenges,
stronger battery.
if all we had to do is live on the beach and just enjoy, you would start to shrivel up because
Right.
it's like I have nothing to propel me. Right?
Yeah, that's where we started.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like without that personal growth, what's the point?
What's the point of this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It gets all nihilistic at that point.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, that feels like a good spot.
Yeah,
I think.
so for sure.
All right. Well, we'll try and see if we can get out of here cold. From the iconic era of advertising to the digital age, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ernie.
Keep it legendary.